twofer.
We're back.
We wanted
Two for
to
two.
hit another little...
We didn't know if we were going to go live again, and then we were like, let's do it.
We
Why
didn't
not?
know if we were going to film a video to post for tomorrow. But we're sitting here, so I said, well, why don't we just
Shoot another
broadcast
one. Why
live one more time?
One more time.
See who's online here. But the topic we were wanted to talk about was the electric vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with the electric vehicle is if they're basing all of these grave predictions on gasoline,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're doing all these like radical changes to our infrastructure, to the way that we do everything, the way that we all types of governance, and we're basing all of these radical changes on assumptions. And then if these assumptions are false, then what happens? What are we left with after the train wreck of all of this green agenda and Green New Deal and all these green quote unquote solutions? Because the problem is that their solutions don't solve anything. They just create greater problems and larger problems. But that's what happens when you give government the not only the opportunity, but you give government the you pawn it off onto the government to fix these problems that don't even exist, because they create the problems, they P-mine the data, and then, this is why we got to steal all your stuff, this is why we got to take everything from you, this is why we have to tax you to death because you produce carbon. So that's the premise behind all these electric vehicles. I don't know if anybody remembers hydrogen vehicles and the Nissan
What
Leaf.
happened to them?
And I have no idea what happened to hydrogen vehicles. I have no idea what happened to nuclear energy and all these different things just all of a sudden. And I don't know
Disappeared.
who saw that great documentary, Who Killed the Electric Car? And that was supposed to be all about how the big three auto manufacturers just like killed the whole concept of electrical vehicles. And these Saturns were just these incredible not undestructible electric cars that were fabulous and incredible and all these different things. But then the big three turned right back around and started making electric vehicles again because of the lobby. I don't know, because supposedly they killed the electric car because of the oil lobby, but now everybody is totally fine with electric cars. But I wanted to just play a really quick John Stossel video where he points out the inconsistencies and problems with the data behind the electric vehicles. And I thought it was really brief, quick, concise. And so we figured we'd just watch it along with y'all.
Yeah. So here we go, y'all.
Electric car sales are up 66%.
Anybody want to jump in the back?
And now my president says the future.
It's electric, and there's no turning back.
To make sure of that, some states are banning gas-powered cars.
The last thing you need is that guy in a big old Humvee.
Climate chaos. We actually have
Climate
to stop
chaos.
using fossil fuel
We have to
vehicles.
stop using fossil
California's
fuel
governor
vehicles.
made that an executive order.
We will eliminate the sales of internal combustion engines.
Good old wet
Governments
hair.
everywhere say they plan to do that.
The government has a vision for a future where all our cars will be electric.
But this is just magical thinking. It can't happen. In this video and the next, we point out 5 inconvenient facts about electric cars that politicians and green activists just don't understand.
Electric cars are amazing.
Physicists like Mark Mills of the Manhattan Institute do understand. He says the trend to electric is a good thing.
But it won't change the future in any significant way with respect to oil use or carbon dioxide emissions.
That's inconvenient fact 1. More electric cars will hardly dent oil use.
Barely.
If all of us bought electric cars, would it make any difference?
So the world has 15, 18 million electric vehicles now. It could go to 300 million, maybe 500 million vehicles. I don't think it'll get that many, but that's the aspiration. That would reduce world oil consumption by about 10%. That's not nothing, but it doesn't end the use of oil for the world.
Relatively
Because most
speaking,
of it's used for
nothing.
what?
It's nothing.
Flying airplanes, driving buses, big trucks. The mining equipment that get the copper to build the electric cars is all oil-fired, and it won't change because those trucks last 40 years.
How about the
And
tires?
even if all vehicles
And the tires.
somehow switch to electricity,
All the tires.
there'd be another problem because despite what we've heard,
Further, faster, cheaper, and greener.
electric cars are not all that green. One reason is because electricity isn't all that green. I'm amazed talking to people who are all excited about their electric car and say, and I'm not polluting. And I say, where do you get the electricity from? And they don't know. They don't know that most of America's electricity comes from fossil fuels, natural gas and coal. Just 12% comes from wind and solar.
And by everyone converting to electric vehicles, we're putting more stress on the grid,
Of course.
requiring more power to come from somewhere, not less power. So it's a greater tax on the grid that's already comprised of natural gas and coal predominantly. And then if you put a greater tax on it, and want more power out of the grid to charge your electric vehicle, then what's going to happen? Well, it's designed implosion. They want to implode the grid.
Yet auto companies tell us
Electric vehicles in general are better and more sustainable for the environment.
she's a Ford engineer. She's not ignorant.
Well, actually, she probably is ignorant in the literal sense of the word. She's not stupid, but ignorance speaks to what you know. You have to mine somewhere on Earth 500,000 pounds of minerals and rock to make one battery.
And most of this mining isn't done in the U.S. American regulations make it nearly impossible. So it's done other places, polluting those countries. And worse, ingredients in batteries are mined in places that enslave people and use child labor.
An army of children are at the heart of the mining production. Wearing no shoes and in the most wretched conditions.
Most Americans proudly driving electric cars don't know about this. They just don't want mining done near them. But wherever it's done, mining is a dirty business that adds lots of carbon to the air.
If you're worried about carbon dioxide, the electric vehicle is emitted 10 to 20 tons of carbon dioxide before it even gets to your driveway, before you drive the first mile and plug it in the first time.
Carbon dioxide produced by the mining and the manufacturing and the shipping.
Exactly. Volkswagen published an honest study. They point out that the first 60,000 miles or so you're driving an electric vehicle, that electric vehicle will have emitted more carbon dioxide than if you just drove a conventional vehicle in the first place.
You have to own it for a while before the electric part starts to win.
You have to own it for at least 100,000 miles, and then the electric part wins by some. So it doesn't get you a zero emissions vehicle. It's reduced the emissions then by 20 or 30%, which is not nothing, but it's not zero.
No, it's not close to zero. In our next video, more inconvenient facts about electric cars. Politicians make impossible assumptions about batteries and the electric grid.
All right, so they just point out, Stossel released another video. He talks about some more facts there that are just unobtainium. You know, they're just completely unattainable. And all of these premises that electric vehicles are being sold are all green energy for that matter, whether it's PV, you know, solar panels, whether it's windmills or whatever. What's very interesting is there is some great viability in geothermal that is never talked about, and it's relatively inexpensive and accessible. Nobody ever talks about geothermal as a potential option, but there's lots of usages there, and just that the electric cars, just like somebody said, it's all about control. It's about controlling all of us. It's about stealing all of our stuff.
Yeah,
It's this video is not some anti Elon Musk thing.
No.
The Tesla car could have never made it without the government subsidies, the $8 billion worth of government subsidies. Starlink could have never made it without Project Blackjack. Elon Musk is a military-industrial complex hack. He's made all of his money through government, either through government subsidies or being, you know, a military contractor putting up military satellites. So, I mean, but this certainly isn't anti-Elon Musk.
No.
And Elon Musk isn't coming to save us and restore free speech.
No.
Just ask Alex Jones. All right. You got anything else, Matt?
No, I think that's it. And there will not be any electric vehicles. We are not going to be purchasing any electric vehicles either. So, in the near future. Even though the electric Polaris, that is kind of cool because for hunting, I think that's pretty cool.
I think that's really cool for hunting.
I think it's pretty cool. And I think it's small enough that you could probably charge it on like a solar grid, probably, possibly.
No, you could easily charge something like it doesn't require this enormous amount of power and an enormous amount of draw. That's the big thing with electric is, it's like, are there going to be D11 bulldozers that run on batteries?
Absolutely
there can't be.
not.
You can't create enough power. Are there going to be these gigantic dump trucks to mine these rare earth minerals to create these batteries?
In a million years.
That run on batteries? No. So it's the most efficient and effective way that they can do it is with gas and diesel. And, that's the stuff that nobody wants to talk about. Hey, is it a good thing to develop new technology and to try different things and to work and to see what works? Yeah, sure. But are their solutions and what they're touting now viable or going to work? Absolutely not. And that's just basically the long and the short of it. All right. Anything else, Matt?
No, I think that's it, y'all.
All right, y'all.
Thank y'all so much for watching.
Thanks for hanging out, jumping on the second video today.
Yep.
And we appreciate y'all. And we'll see y'all in the next video.
Yeah, we'll see y'all later. All right, see you later, Wilmer and Carlos and everybody else. And the Squatchy.
See you, Squatchy. Where's Schwackhammer?
I think he actually jumped on here.